Well, ladies and gentlemen, somehow the intro decided to do a whole lot of things. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that all situated for you, but intro decided to do a whole lot of things. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that all situated for you, but maybe we can get that together. A whole lot of things. What a way to start the day. It is Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. This is your boy Bunny 3000, and this is what shall be known as the Geekswagg podcast. And of course, the intro will be a lot better next time. Why in the world it can't get it right? Not certain. As you all know, for the ones that always catch me on my Twitch channel, Bunny 3000, anytime we do the show, there's usually some gremlin that always throws a monkey wrench into the plan. Always. You know, that's just how it goes down for me most times. But that's okay. That's alright. I got it under control. As you see, I'm kind of ghetto styling it right now. I had to mess around, couldn't find my other microphone, so we're just using the microphone off my Turtle Beachies. Yes, and basically what Geekswagg really is we are a group of 3 of the illest geeks you will ever meet. My co-hosts aren't here today. As you see up in the corner right over there, see right there with the gas face, that's Makeda, the Grim Phreaker. She is, I guess you'd say, the truth voice of the show. She definitely pulls no punches, and she will give you an unbiased opinion on anything. My boy DirtyHelmet, and his little area is gonna be over there. As you see, there's like nothing there. It's because he's not here. He is our IT aficionado. I mean, he basically does that in real life. So he basically heads up a lot of the technology and like software or anything that's just up and coming when it comes to technology, whether it be wearables, smartphones, tablets, anything. He's basically the one we go to for that kind of like software. So, myself, I am, I guess you would say, the engineering/gaming geek. The only voice in the show that basically is, I guess you could say, positive a majority of the time. So most of the time when we get together, it's always a really, really good debate. I decided to do the podcast today by myself. Makeda's sick, unfortunately, and my boy Jason, he actually had some additional work he had to do for his daytime job, so he was unable to make it today. So I apologize for the very, very first show is gonna be a mini show. But every night, well, not every night, sorry, every Tuesday night at this time, 9 p.m., Geekswagg, illest geeks you ever meet. We gonna be right here showing you everything, whether it's comic books, video games, technology. My little segment, which is called Adventures in Bungeneering, basically where I just run down just interesting tidbits about engineering or just things that are related to, I guess you'd say, technology that engineers create and some of the cool ways that they solve some of the, I don't want to say the biggest problems that our world has seen, but just different problems. I mean, that's all engineers really are. We engineers, we fix the problems, or we create the technology that hopefully solves the problems that current day really has to deal with. So with that said, I actually do have a small agenda, just to give you guys a feel of our knowledge, what we get into, and just some of the things that actually I've been into recently. if any of you guys have seen my Twitch channel, I actually stream on my own Twitch channel, which is Bunneh 3000, which is BUNNEH 3000. And on that channel, I've been doing a bit of Shadow of Mordor, and that's been my heart for quite some time. So my plan is I'm gonna get through a little bit of this agenda, and then there's like I don't want to say a pivotal moment in my playthrough right now, but I guess you could say for me it's a pivotal moment in the playthrough because I'm a big time Lord of the Rings fan, and Shadow of Mordor is where it's at. I'm just sorry for a lot of the people who haven't tried it or are hesitant about Shadow of Mordor. I'm telling you, if you're even marginally a Lord of the Rings fan, that's the game you gotta get. So, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. One of the things I kind of wanted to talk about today for the show, I know earlier when I was messing around on at New York Comic Con a few weeks ago, I actually ran into a few comic book guys that were selling new comic books. If you go on heedmag.com /Geekswagg, spelled out the same way we have here, Geekswagg, you'll see a number of the articles that I have, and some of the wrap-ups are actual video casts that I did the night after a particular day that I went to Comic-Con. So that day, I actually, the second day, I actually came across a gentleman that had a comic book that I kind of wanted to, I guess you'd say, review. His name was Hunter Fine, and his comic book was Nerd Pimp. And it's more of a graphic novel, so I guess I need to take a step back and not call it comic book. It's more of a graphic novel. The whole premise of this comic book essentially is that the main character, which is Ren McAllister, is an IT guy with no direction, no life, until he stumbles on the oldest profession in the world. And this is basically the first page, how the first page goes. So if you guys see that, that's kind of the way the artwork looks. Nerd Pimp. It's cute. It's definitely a cute little book. Kind of the way that I guess you could describe that the storyline actually plays out. It kind of reminds me of an episode of what is that TBS show? What is the show? Goodness, I can't even remember the name of the show, but it reminds me of a sitcom. It reminds me of an episode of a nerd related sitcom. If you can imagine, I'm certain you guys know which one I'm talking about. And in a sense, I guess I had a different expectation for the actual storyline itself, because Ren McAllister basically, he's an IT guy. He's having problems at work. He decides to go ahead and try to, make a little money on the side, right? So as he makes money on the side, there is... Ooh, hold on a second. Let me make certain you guys aren't getting a whole lot of echo. Can you guys hear me now? Any echo? No echo? Lots of echo? Okay, let me make certain. Is there still echo now? Echo, echo, echo. Nope, I should only have one open, but let me make certain. Okay. Okay. Let me see if I can address some technical difficulties here, people. We have any echo going on now? Echo, echo, hello, hello. No echo, still echo? We're good now? Okay, yay. Goodness. Yeah, Gremlins. Yes, I know. Working out the kinks, ladies and gentlemen. Working out the kinks. First show. Yes. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me. One man show, one man producer. I'm doing it all today. Doing it all. But that's what Bunny 3000 does. Unfortunately, that's kind of what I do at work also. I mess things up and then I get it straight. But, that's what I'm supposed to do. I fix problems. That's what engineers do. Okay. Like I was saying. Nerd Pimp. So, assuming you guys haven't heard it like 50 times because of the echo that was on earlier. Nerd Pimp is actually a cute little book. The main character, Ren McAllister, actually goes and he's trying to make extra money, kind of like Jason is right now. Even though it's not for right now, Jason isn't doing a side job. He's actually doing his, regular job. It's just because of the time difference that he's having to work now. But Ren in the book, he actually starts doing IT work on the side. And as he's doing IT work on the side, he kind of stumbles onto, quote unquote, the oldest profession in the world. And me personally, I was kind of thinking, I was like, oh man, you know what? This sounds like an IT guy's wet dream, basically. Hey, let me go and help somebody. I hope the person that I'm helping, is attractive so that we can do stuff. And that's basically what happens in the book. Ren McAllister goes, he gets I don't want to say a questionable reply, but he puts his business out there on Craigslist, of course. And on Craigslist, he gets a woman that responds, and she wants him to fix things or fix something for her. And it basically leads to him recognizing that he can do that. So he kind of changes up the ad, puts fixed in quotations, and next thing you know, he's pimping. So the storyline kind of goes like that. It goes into funny little situations that crop up or pop up because of him doing this. And then he he stumbles upon another guy that he can do it, that he can do the business with that is gay. So the gay guy does the guys, he does the girls, they get money for it, and then all of a sudden they run into a problem. They infringe upon another pimp's territory. And guess who the other pimp is? His boss. So he has to figure out a way, so the struggle in the rest of the book is how he overcomes his boss and ends up having a lucrative pimping career using IT work and brings in his friends to help him. So, it's good. It's a pretty decent, it's a pretty decent little story. If it were me, of course, and this is what everyone does when they read something that they think is mediocre. And unfortunately, that's kind of what I have to say about this. It's a mediocre story. I would have liked to see him leave the story a little more open-ended. He didn't really develop a whole lot of different characters in there. It was mostly focused around Ren McAllister. So, some of the other people in there, some of the other guys he brought in to the pimp game with him later on in the story, he could have expound upon their personality more so that they might have been a little bit more lovable. So you might have been like, oh, I like that dude, he's funny, I'd love to see the conversation between him and another one of the characters more. There's just not a whole lot of that going on. So Ren McAllister is just like the primary focus. So if you aren't interested in Ren, you're not going to really be interested in, Nerd Pimp. So, and Ren is kind of, himself is kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say he's bland, but I guess you could say he's kind of stereotypical. He's just a nerd. He's down on his luck. He doesn't have very much luck with the ladies at first. He's kind of desperate. And then all of a sudden he comes up upon this idea. The idea ends up working out really, really well. And then all of a sudden he's, having no problems. And he, of course, thinks nothing of it. He's getting paid for it. So I don't know. It's interesting. I'd like to see Mr. Hunter Fine build upon this. I think there's promise in the idea that he has in Nerd Pimp, and I think that he can really build the story into something bigger if he wanted to. It doesn't, there's no episode or issue number to this, so I'm wondering if this is all he's gonna do or if he's gonna do something different next. But that's Nerd Pimp. But yeah, that was one of the comic books that I actually picked up from Comic-Con. Another one, I didn't really pick these up from Comic-Con, but these are definitely comics that I'm interested in personally. I'm certain a lot of you comic book heads out there, I'm certain all of you guys have this. Death of Wolverine. Dun 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 dun. The interesting thing about this comic in this series, I was reading an article today on I think it's moviepilot.com, and the author there was talking about how Marvel has this huge war with Fox because they sold off their licensing to a lot of their not a lot, but a number of their characters back in the day, back in like the late 90s when Marvel was about to go bankrupt. And it just so happens that at that time, that's when they sold X-Men to Fox, and they sold Spider-Man to Sony. At that time, they had, not at that time. Today, they have a good relationship with Sony. And I think if I read the article correctly, Sony even helped do some of the like effects or some of the production in Guardians of the Galaxy. But on the flip side, their relationship with Fox is toxic. Apparently, back in the day, Marvel tried to do something with by remaking X-Men in a way, and making a television show called X-Mutant or something like that. Something real generic. Just so that they could kind of spawn some interest in the storylines that they wanted to reveal on television. And of course, I think Fox sued them, and there's a big battle. Everyone got upset, and I think Fox was doing some other stuff. I don't know. All I know from reading the article is that the relationship was toxic, right? So now that Marvel is like, on top of the world, just about everything that they put out, well, I won't say that. A lot that they put out movie-wise in their cinematic universe stands to do extremely well. And the one burn that they have, though, is now that they've got the Avengers going and everything, they can't even mention the name Mutant. Because if they do, Fox will sue them, because they are the ones that have the mutant license, with the whole X-Men universe and all the X-Men characters. Well, not all the X-Men characters, but the major X-Men characters. And I think this is kind of evidenced by seeing Quicksilver in both the X-Men movies as well as at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy. They're gonna portray Quicksilver in a completely different light in the Avengers / Guardians of the Galaxy universe, as opposed to the way that he's portrayed in X-Men. So it's kind of interesting to see them do that kind of thing, and then all of a sudden, Marvel, they're making a whole lot of moves on a lot of their storylines, just like Death of Wolverine. And the author of the article kind of made an interesting point that they can do something like killing off Wolverine and keeping him killed in, I guess, a main storyline, because you know how comic books are. There's like 1,800 different storylines going on. So Wolverine may be dead, but just like in one of the more recent cover releases that Marvel had, they're they're making another storyline called Years of Future Past, which is basically, I think, a remake of Days of Future Past, which was an old X-Men storyline that's really, really, really popular. And, of course, in the picture, you see Wolverine as one of the people that's in that group. So it's clear that he's going to be in other storylines. But the main storyline, he's going to be dead. But the author was like, the probable purpose of killing him off is so that they can kind of tone down or just take a little knife and twist it in Fox so that they can do big and great storylines that they can tie into their movies in the comic books and not be at a loss for it. It'll be interesting to see what kind of comes of that and whether any of that will get resolved. I honestly think they just need to, they really just need to sit down and think about the amount of money that they can make if they find a way to resolve their differences and bring the Avengers and X-Men together. Don't you think, ladies and gentlemen? Come on now. It makes no sense. But back to the actual comic. I actually read the comic. I think they actually have already released number 2, issue 2 or 3. They may have finished the whole series. I mean, it's one of 4. This is the only one that I was able to pick up. There was a variant that I should have got, but I didn't. And what I've read so far, it's kind of interesting. Of course, Wolverine losing his healing powers, and now, what is her name? Viper. They call her the Green Queen. Has a hit out on her. So just about every villain or every bad guy or evil guy or mercenary that's out there is trying to kill Wolverine. And one of the great scenes that's in the book has Wolverine, or has one of the enemies of Wolverine going towards an island that Wolverine basically is telling them all to go to. He's like, if you want me, come get me. And he kind of leaves a map at a specific place, and they all go there, and he lures them in, and of course he deals with all these guys at this island. So in the book, a group of these guys are going to the island on a boat, and they look off in the distance, and they see on the shoreline, all they see is just bodies. All over the shoreline. So, they're like, oh, great, Wolverine. This is a trap, of course. So, of course, Wolverine does what he does. But the one thing that he has to remember is, his trademark claws that come out, since he doesn't have his healing anymore. Anytime he, slashes or uses them and they go back in, anything that's on those is now in him. So he could have all kinds of infections and, all kinds of stuff. You can imagine how gross his hands are now that he doesn't have his healing factor. So it's interesting. It's very, very well drawn. The artists, I think his name is Steve McNiven, I think. There's a number of guys. I think Charles Soule is the writer. Jay Linston and Justin Ponsor are, they're handling the Wolverine duty in this series. So I'm sure they'll be legendary by the time it's all said and done. Also, another comic that I'm getting into that I think right now is at issue number 2. For those of you who know me, this is easy, but Prometheus, Fire and Stone. This is issue number 1. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting that they even have a predator on the front cover on this one, because in this particular issue there is no predator. But the whole premise behind Fire and Stone is they're going to link these storylines between the Prometheus, the aliens versus Predator, and the Predator storylines all together. And on top of that, these storylines are going to extend the storyline that they started in the Prometheus movie, which is loosely tied to aliens and Alien and all this other kind of stuff, right? So, for those of you who are geeked up about it, like I am, I'm really interested to see where this storyline takes, takes all the scientists and everything, because it's supposed to talk a little bit more about the engineers and what the black goop is, what the black goop does. They kind of show a little bit of it in this issue. The new scientists that crash land on what is it, LV-223, I think it is. I'm actually opening up the book because after I bought it, I recognized that there's 2 nice little rips in the pages. Yeah, I was pissed off when I got home. Oh, I'm sorry, 3 rips in 3 pages. So I'll have to go and buy another issue. But yeah, essentially they go to, I think it's the same planet. Let's see, LV-223. And I can't remember which one was in Prometheus itself. I have to look that up one day. But once they get there, they recognize that one of the ships from LV-426 crash lands there. And for those of you who don't remember, LV-426 is the planet that Sigourney Weaver was on with all the Colonial Marines. So, it was, Hadley's Hope or whatever was the name of the colony, I think it was. So it was it's interesting to see, okay, why is a ship from there actually on this planet? It doesn't really make much sense. So I'm curious. I'm really curious as to why the ship is there. And of course, the ship is there, and it has a whole lot of aliens in it. The very last pane, as you can see, has a bunch of aliens inside, and they're like, "Hey, let's open the door." Yeah, great idea, guys. Great idea. So, yeah, I'm interested to get the next issue. I was fortunate enough to have my sister. She's a big comic book head, so she actually went and bought me issue number 2. So she's mailing that to me after I mailed her a group of comic books that I bought for her at Comic-Con. So that is my that's basically all I have for comic books. I have some others that I bought but I haven't read yet. I have number 1s for Aliens, Fire and Stone, and Alien vs. Predator. I'm gonna dig into these soon. I think these just came out. Also, I forget when this came out. This came out a while back, I think. Maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe. But Storm 1, between DC and Marvel, they're releasing number 1s all over the place, especially DC. DC has got, Future's End or whatever going on. So, if any of you guys are into collecting or whatever, right now is a really good time to go grab a few number 1s over at your Barnes and Noble or your comic book store or whatever. Also on my reading docket is this. I got this at Comic-Con. It's Black Panther Power. Have no clue what it's about. I've never actually read Black Panther issue. So, I figured, hey, it's time to start. I'm getting back into reading it, so now it's time to do it. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is like the comic portion. I don't always do comics. Actually, this is the first time on a podcast we really we're supposed to talk about comics, but usually we talk about gaming. And one game in particular that I'm going to be reviewing, I received early Steam access for, and kind of what I wanted to do. Let's see if I can do this right without any echoes. Alright, I received early Steam access for, and kind of what I wanted to do. Let's see if I can do this right without certain echoes. Alright, I received early Steam access for, and kind of what I wanted to do. Let's see if I can do this right without certain echoes. Alright, I received early Steam access for, and kind of what I wanted to do. Let's see if I can do this right. Okay, here we go. Now, what we want to do is I'm going to play. Okay, here we go. I just activated the echo again. Now, what we want to do is I'm going to play. Let's see here. There we go. I just activated the echo again. Alright. Let's see whether this works without echo. I don't think you guys. I'm gonna try to. Let me see whether or not it. I just activated the echo. Okay, is the echo there? Because what I want to do is I want to roll. Let's see whether this works without echo. I want to roll. I don't think you guys. I'm gonna try to. So let me know if you guys hear the echo. I just hear the echo. Okay, is the echo there? Because what I want to do is I want to roll. Let's see whether this works without echo. I want to roll. I don't think you guys. I'm gonna try to. So let me know if you guys hear the echo. I just hear the echo. Okay, is the echo there? I'm gonna roll the trailer. What I want to do is I want to roll. Let's see whether this works without. Ew. Okay. So we'll look at the trailer. We won't hear the trailer. We'll just look at the trailer. There we go. That should get rid of it. Why, for some reason, we've got all that echo going on, I don't know. Next time I'll end up using the, I'll find my microphone and we'll get rid of that echo. But, take a look at this trailer. And, let's see, let me start it back. So yeah, while the trailer actually plays, I guess I'll try to kind of let you guys know what it's supposed to be about. This game is Dungeon of the Endless, and it's a roguelike kind of squad-based co-op game. I haven't really delved into it a lot, so it's kind of hard for me to really give you a really great explanation of the game. But as you can see, there's a lot going on here. It is. One person kind of described it as if you took an FTL, the game FTL, Faster Than Light. If you took an FTL crew and crashed them into Binding of Isaac's Basement, that's like one of the comments on the stream community. That's basically what you would have in this game. It's very, 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 very hard, just like Faster Than Light. And as you can see, it has its own interesting little pixel art style to it. And me personally, I'm kind of excited to play it. I'm really excited to kind of get into it and try it out. I'm not certain how the whole multiplayer thing is going to go, but I imagine it's probably you probably can't play it unless you're doing it multiplayer, or play it well rather. So I'll kind of let that play for a little while. Let you guys see it. Tense, brutal, and unbelievably fun. Yeah, seeing all kinds of aliens. I forget what that game used to be called back in the day. There was a game I played years ago. It was back in like the 80s. I think it was like Project Firestorm or something like that. And it kind of reminds me of this concept. As you can see there, all the characters are, that's supposed to be the power source that they're trying to get to the exit. And it's interesting. It's interesting. So I'm kind of excited to dig into that. As usual, this is like the worst time of the year for anybody that loves gaming. Well, I won't say worse. Let me rephrase. This is the best time of the year for anyone that loves gaming. It's bad for anyone that really wants to stick to one game and like completely finish it, because there's just so much coming out. For those of you who don't know, I'm a big time console gamer. Not by choice, by force, mainly because I'm broke. Don't have a PS4 yet, but I do have my Xbox One. So I've been doing most of my gaming there. I'm struggling hard to try to see if I can manage a PS4, and I'm struggling hard to try to see if I can get a gaming rig. But there's just so many games out nowadays, and one in particular that I think our boy Jason, DirtyHelmet, is looking forward to is Sunset Overdrive. And Sunset Overdrive is one of those weird looking games that it looks like a third person shoot everything that moves, halfway zombie, not really zombie, more like mutant kind of regurgitation of like colors. You know what I mean? It's like there's colors everywhere. So I mean, I'll give them that much. It's fast, it's over the top, it's one of those kind of things. Me personally, I would kind of sidestep that for a bit more of Borderlands the prequel action. But I don't necessarily want to say I've heard bad things. I've just heard that it's more of the same, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's it's kind of the same kind of thing I heard about when I was getting ready to buy Diablo 3. It was like, oh, Diablo 3 is good, but it's more of the same. It wasn't necessarily a leap forward. You know what I mean? So it was kind of, it's kind of, I don't want to say hurtful, but it's kind of like, oh, yeah, okay. It's like, yeah, I might have to wait. So, there's a lot of games that are dropping. Probably the next one on my horizon, if I can actually beat Shadow of Mordor, is going to be, and if it's, of course, not NBA 2K15, which I'm always playing, it'll probably be Dragon Age Inquisition. They released another trailer today. I'm not going to play that. Don't worry. No echo. I'm not trying to put echo all over the place for you guys. Dragon Age Inquisition, it looks great. The trailers have me interested. The gameplay has me interested. It looks like BioWare is back in the same swing of things, just like they did with Mass Effect. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys remember, Mass Effect 1, RPG heavy. Mass Effect 2, action heavy. A whole lot less RPG. Mass Effect 3, everyone got pissed off at Mass Effect 2 and wanted more RPG, so they ended up balancing it a bit better. Added more RPG elements, freed it up a bit, and actually ended up with, a pretty, I don't want to say respectable because I loved it, but I think they had a good medium between the RPG heads that were asking for basically what they had in the first game, and action heads that were like, look, we want like the ultimate action RPG, so you need to make the action part of it faster, better, deeper, which they did, I thought. Mass Effect 3 had the most surprising multiplayer mode I've ever played. I did not expect it to be as fun as it was. With that said, BioWare has basically said that they are going to do the same thing. Well, I won't say the same thing. They are going to do a similar thing for Dragon Age. They're going to have a multiplayer mode. They haven't really shown any gameplay of that yet. And I'm not 100% worried about that, because if they make it as deep and as fun as they made Mass Effect 3, then it'll be a welcome mode for any fan of Dragon Age. And that's my prediction. But with that said, the new trailer that they have out, I haven't watched yet. Sorry. They basically are beginning to introduce a lot of the characters, or not introduce, maybe even reintroduce, because some of them are old characters, some of them are new characters. They're digging into the people that you can recruit, or that you'll be recruiting and have relationships with throughout the game in Inquisition. And I'm real excited about this game, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh. I will put it to you this way. Dragon Age 2, I got so upset with, I traded it in before I finished it. And that's not normal for me. Usually when there's a game that has a really good story, which Dragon Age 2 did have, usually I see it till I'm almost done with it. And I just couldn't handle it. For some reason, I just couldn't dig into Dragon Age 2's story enough to drive me to the end of that storyline. And I don't feel bad about it. Sorry, BioWare. I love you guys, but I just couldn't handle Dragon Age 2. So I'm thrilled to get back into Dragon Age Inquisition. Open world, exploration, everything that you do affects the world. You'll be able to build up strongholds. You'll be able to just affect the world around you as you play. Much in the same way that I guess you could say you kind of do in Skyrim, but to a deeper effect, it seems, in Dragon Age Inquisition. Again, really excited for this one. So we're gonna have to wait and see with that. So if you get a chance, any of you Dragon Age fans, go ahead, take a look at that trailer that's out there. Let me know what you think. I'm really excited about it. But before I go, one of the things that we will be doing on our show when we actually have the regular Geekswagg podcast is each one of my co-hosts will have a segment. And as I stated at the beginning of the show, I have a segment that I call Adventures in Bungeoneering. Yeah, I know, corny. But ladies and gentlemen, that's what I am. I'm corny. I'm an engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. So it only makes sense that I promote my craft. Engineering is my heart. Engineering is my love. I think of engineers as professional problem solvers. So anytime anyone asks you, what is an engineer? What does an engineer do? We solve problems. That's basically what we do. We take all of the scientific, we take all the theory, we take all of that stuff, we apply all of that knowledge, physics, chemistry, all that stuff, and we make it reality. It's not just trial and error. We actually take what we've learned, ladies and gentlemen. We don't just throw stuff out there and make it work. We actually take engineering principles, we take scientific principles, and we make it into something that will actually work and do what it's supposed to do in a safe manner. Safety first. So, with that said, the little news bit that I have for Adventures in Engineering, and imagine like a really cool, amazing intro that comes on, and little gears going all over the place. Something you see on the Discovery Channel. One of these days, I'm gonna get something together like that. I'm gonna play that for you guys right before my segment. But Makeda actually hit me to this. She showed me. I think there was an article someplace on MSN or something like that. A lot of you guys might have even seen it. But a little group has gotten together called Hendo, and they basically have started or created a hoverboard. Now, what that is, ladies and gentlemen, is yes, it is what you think it is. It's an actual board that hovers over the ground. It's not a hovercraft. It doesn't take big fans and blow air on the ground, kind of like I don't know if you guys saw the video of the hover cycle. You guys should look that up. That was actually pretty cool. There was a guy that actually designed a hover cycle that had two really big, huge, massive, like propeller blades that spun, and he used different speeds in order for him to go forward, go back, side to side. That was his hover cycle, right? Just like a hovercraft. But this hoverboard uses magnetic technology. But the slight caveat in this technology that you have to keep in mind is that it can only be used on a non-ferrous surface. So it has to have a special surface in order for this thing to hover on, because it uses a magnetic field to keep whatever it is that's on its I guess you'd say hover panels, about an inch over the ground. But what I'll do is at the end of the show, I'll go on Heat Mag, I'll put on the post, and I'll show you guys the link, because they're running a Kickstarter right now. They're trying to raise I think like $250,000 by the end of the year. Not even the end of the year. I think by like the middle of December. So go check it out. Hendo Hoverboards, world's first real hoverboard. They're trying to get it started. There's a lot of different applications for this kind of technology, so I'm certain this won't be the only company that does it. And I'm certain that even if they don't make this or hit this target, I've got a good feeling that somebody is going to approach them and ask them to use this technology for something. This has a lot of really, really cool, applications that it could be used for. Imagine movers. I seriously doubt movers will end up having a technology like this, but think about that. Like I know in certain companies there's like massive, huge things that they want to move, and it takes them a long time to move them, or it takes a lot of energy to push or move them. If you had technology like this, little hoverboards or whatever, underneath something that was pretty heavy, you could pretty much, just nudge and it would end up going. You wouldn't have to continuously push, because you've basically gotten rid of all the friction. That's basically what you have to do. Anytime you're pushing something heavy, you're trying to overcome that friction. But since there's no friction, and it's going on a magnetic field, you push it once and something massive, it'll go. And that's beautiful. I'm telling you, that's engineering at work, people. It excites me when I see stuff like this, because it's awesome. I'm telling you, you'll see something like this in special effects someday soon, if they're not using it already. There's going to be somebody that's going to have, on Star Wars, they're going to have something, and they're going to use this, and they'll be like, oh, we did this for real. They're going to have like you remember the what is the little hover cycle or hovercraft that they use in the original Star Wars, where Obi-Wan and C-3PO and R2 are going to Mos Eisley. And you see the little scene where it's going, and everything in the background is going, and the thing is standing still, and you're like, oh, that's corny, because all they did was they just kind of digitally etched out the wheels that are underneath. Won't have to do that anymore. They'll be able to put a surface down, take that little, take a little craft like that, put the little magnetic field on there, push it, poof, and it'll just glide. awesome. So I might even actually donate to this when I get paid again. But that's the whole concept of the segment that I'll be doing on the show. I'll try to go and look around through new engineering news. In some of the later episodes, I talked about electronic cars, EV cars, I guess they call them now. I talked about a Ebola killing robot that they're actually using over in Africa. Just different little feats in engineering that'll be interesting to know about and interesting to hear, just to get you guys interested in doing what I do. So, Adventures in Bungeoneering. Be on the lookout for that. Anytime we do the Geekswagg podcast, I'm definitely going to keep you guys in the know. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's a good little primer show just to give you an idea of what Geekswagg is really about, what we're going to do. Again, I apologize. My co-host couldn't be here today, but I'm trying to I tried to hold it down, even through all the echo and all the gremlins that are, I'll get it straight. By next week, there'll be no echo. Everything will be straight. Everything will run smooth and beautiful. Trust me. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to situate myself. I'm going to jump back on, do a little bit of NBA 2K15. I'll try to see whether or not I can actually get some wins online this time. But for those of you who don't want to watch that and would rather read, definitely do your best to go and check out some of our old episodes. Right now we are on episode 9 of the video cast, and I forget what episode we got up to on our audio cast. But if you go to heedmag.com, that's HEEDMAG.com /Geekswagg, Geekswagg, spelled GEEKSWA, 2 G's. You will gain access to all of our past episodes so that you can kind of see the evolution of the show. You can kind of see the personality that my co-hosts have. I miss you guys. We're gonna do it up next week. And you'll kind of see the kind of things that each one of us are interested in, and that we each specialize in, because I think we've got a kind of chemistry and a kind of expertise when it comes to mostly when it comes to video games, but also just knowledge about technology and just being able to use applications and that kind of thing. I think we have an advantage over just your run-of-the-mill podcasts that have to do with gaming or just anything geek-related, honestly. We're going to do our best to try to see if we can get some good and interesting hosts. I mean, not hosts, sorry. Good and interesting guests. I definitely want to send a big shout out to my man Megaran. I'm certain a lot of you guys out in the whole nerdcore universe know his name. He was kind enough about a year ago. I dropped him a line when I was starting the podcast. Told him I was a fan and said, dude, there's this one song you have that I just need to use it for my podcast. Can I use it? He was like, sure. So, if there was a moment that you could actually hear the intro without all the echo, that echo is actually not the echo. The intro music is actually by Megaran. And if you go in some of the old show notes, you'll see the actual song name and the credits to him. And one of his other friends that's a producer, that he actually does the podcast called The Manual. You guys should go on SoundCloud and check him out, or on Megaran's site and check it out. He does, like I said, he does a podcast called The Manual with his producer friend Kay Murdoch. I'm hoping I'll be able to arrange a good interview with him soon. I contacted him and he agreed that he would do one. So I'm hoping soon I'll be able to arrange that, get rid of all the gremlins, because I don't want to bring him on here with all that echo. And a few other people. There's a teacher that was at Comic-Con at one of the panels that actually has a video game class. He teaches at the the Newark Leadership Academy. And he has a number of classes that basically are based around video games. And he, has the kids there playing video games, and he takes different concepts out of certain games and he uses them as, the baseline for what he teaches. He's used Minecraft EDU, I think. He used God of War. He's used a number of games to teach different concepts, and it was very, very interesting to hear him speak on his journey, trying to bring it into a regular core principles school system and get the principal and the school system to agree upon allowing him to do that. And it was amazing what he did, and he spoke very, very well at that about his journey at the New York Comic-Con panel. It was called Video Games and Education. I wrote an article about it. You guys should go on Heat Mag and check it out. But it's really, really interesting. I'm hoping I can get back in touch with him. I gave him, Justin, if you're out there watching, if you're checking out the show or you're checking it out later, get in touch with me. We want to get you on the show. We are going to get you on the show. We got to talk about this more. I love the story. We need to get more teachers like you. But yes, definitely go on the site. There's lots of content there. There's lots of articles there. There's going to be more. And like I said, every Tuesday here on Ladies of the Round Table, thank you guys for letting us have the podcast here on the channel. I'm thinking big things are going to happen as soon as we get rid of the echo. But I'm glad to join the stream team. I'm glad to join the channel. I'm excited to see where this goes. And ladies and gentlemen, trust me, you're going to want to be right here. Tuesdays, 9 o'clock. So, with that said, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get rid of the echo. And I'm going to come back on and we're going to play some NBA. Alright, ladies and gentlemen? Deuces.